Hi, hello, I'm back, and today we're talking toilets.
So I spent a couple of weeks away. Hi, I'm Eliza, by the way. I make content all about disability awareness, LGBTQ plus positivity and lifestyle things. I was away because I got diagnosed with Crohn's again. It's a long story. If you want me to do a story time, I'm more than happy to. But I felt like it's a good time to talk about toilets, disability, and what you might be doing that makes the world less accessible for disabled people, and some easy things you can do to make it much more accessible for people like me.
So, accessible toilets are toilets that are designed mainly for disabled people. Sometimes they may have baby changing in there. That is a different story in itself. I don't really like the fact that we have multiple uses for toilets, but I understand that a lot of the time we may not have a choice due to different spaces and things like that. Now, accessible toilets are literally designed for disabled people to use, obviously, and they've got various different features in them that make them accessible.
Some of these features include having bars so that you can pull them down so that you're able to actually move yourself in the bathroom and be able to get on and off the toilet. Having an individual cubicle as well, so many different disabled people will use toilets for different reasons. Some of those reasons may be urgency, some of them may be because they need to use the toilet for things like doing a poo. I just said the word poo on the internet. We all poo, but we never talk about it. Anyway, if you are somebody that has a lot of issues with your bowels, you may find that it's really stressful and embarrassing to do those things in a main public toilet, and that can cause extreme stress. So a person may need to use a disabled toilet for that. They may need to empty a snowball bag, so need more space. They may be more likely to faint. They maybe need to get their wheelchair in there. They maybe need to get their carer in there. They maybe need to change their underwear, clothes, various different types of access needs when it comes to that. Urgency, which I mentioned at the beginning, is so important, which is why disabled toilets are often individually locked. That means that kind of members of the general public shouldn't be using disabled toilets unless they absolutely need to because they're disabled. And the reason that they're generally locked in that way is one, because it means that you can open the toilet if there's an emergency and somebody needs to get in, and two, because of urgency, so that people who only really need to use the toilet should be able to access this. But why are non-disabled people making the world less accessible? What the hell are they doing, Eliza?
Well, there's a few things that non-disabled people do that make the world less accessible when it comes to toilets. One of those being using it if they don't need to. However, you should never, ever question somebody who doesn't stereotypically look disabled, because there's literally no way to look disabled for using a disabled toilet, because we don't know what's going on and invisible disabilities exist. But there is another reason why non-disabled people are making disabled toilets less accessible, and that is red emergency cords.
Red emergency cords, I'll pop a picture on the screen now, are cords that are in the toilet, and the whole point of them is that you're supposed to be able to pull them in case of an emergency. However, this cord needs to touch the ground, because most of the time, if you're in an emergency because you're in the toilet, you've probably fallen off the toilet. Therefore, you need to be able to reach the cord without any major issues and pull for help. That cord will then set off an alarm and you'll be able to access help, or somebody will come and get you. However, loads of times I go into the disabled toilets, these cords are tied up.
This kind of cord is a common occurrence. Quite often they can be up in the air or literally like tied up, have no ring. It's really frustrating. This is like an everyday cord that I see as a disabled person who uses disabled toilets, and they must dangle to the ground, because if somebody needs help, they need to be able to pull it from all areas of the room or be able to find it if they're on the ground, etc. So if it's tied up, not going to be able to put it, am I? You might be thinking, well, why do we use cords then? Let's just use a button. Well, if we used a button that was in one exact place, that would mean that the person would have to scoot over to that particular button. Also, if you're visually impaired, it can be very difficult to find the button and you'd be like feeling along the walls. And so a cord just means that the room is able to be more accessible because you're able to reach it from more areas of the room. You're able to find it easier. It's also just more obvious. It's right next to the toilet. You can pull it, you can find it. If you found the toilet, you can probably find the cord.
But what happens if I pull the cord by accident? Well, don't panic. Disabled toilets have a button that you can neutralise if you do pull the cord by accident, which means that tying it up is literally pointless and is just harming disabled people for no reason. But let's say in some scenario, you've set the cord off and you think, oh my goodness, I don't need help. Is it gonna be another IT moment where, IT crowd moment where I'm gonna have to pretend that I'm disabled?
I'm disabled.
That would be embarrassing, but no, don't panic. There is a neutralize button in there. So tying up the cord, all it does is make the world less accessible for disabled people, meaning that we can't call for help if we need it. And there's literally no reason to be doing it. All it does is harm us, make the world less accessible for no reason. So you might be sat at home thinking, first of all, who's doing this? Well, most likely it's people who clean the toilets because they're the ones that are in there and are in there regularly. They probably tie it up and get it out of the way and probably forget to untie it. You know, I don't think there's any malice in this action. I don't think anybody's doing it on purpose to harm the disabled community. I think that people just don't think about disability until you become disabled. And reminder, anyone can become disabled at any time, but I guess if you're not disabled, you might not think about these things. These are just simple things that many non-disabled people do without thinking that does make the world less accessible. And we need allies and people that are looking out for accessibility. So if you are able to do these things, to keep an eye out on the red emergency cords, are they touching the ground? It really could save a life.
You can also help by ordering some cards from Ewan's Guide, which is a charity that actually provides these cards for free. These cards basically say on them, this is a red emergency cord, please leave it dangling, and you can put it on the red emergency cord. And if you're also able, please do talk to the company that's tying up the cords and make sure that they're aware of the fact that these cords need to dangle for a reason, that just putting them out of the way is actually risking people's lives, and also just being aware that you don't do that in the future, and just being aware of the space, because it's really important for non-disabled people to also be aware of accessibility, even if it's something that you may not think about. And I've left a link to these cards down below, so please do check them out. Say it with me now. Hashtag let it dangle. Your turn. Hashtag let it dangle. Yes, I understand that there's a euphemism in that, but maybe that will help people remember to let it dangle. Dangle, dangle, dangle.
So we've spoken about toilets again on my channel, and I'm back. I'm sorry for the break. I just wasn't very well and I sort of ran out of motivation to be able to make YouTube videos. I hope that you understand, but I'm back now, and if you did like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And you can follow me on social media, because that is where all the goings on is happening. Everything goes on over there. And can you leave this emoji on my most recent post? It's the post that is white that says life in multicolored. Can you leave this emoji on that post, please? Because then I'll know that you've come from YouTube. So yes, do all the things, press all the buttons. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me. I really do appreciate this little corner of the internet. And of course, look after all of you, stay safe, wash those hands, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.